Namaste guys, Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Wednesday evening here in Denver, Colorado. I'm not quite sure if it's Wednesday evening yet. What are we at? I think it's maybe about 4:15. I want to jump on earlier today, give a live stream, give some value to you guys, have an interesting topic to discuss. Again, we talk about energy healing, meditation, and practical spirituality on these live streams every time that we do them. Feel free to throw out your comments, your questions, your concerns. Let's mix it up a little bit. Every question you ask that we answer adds more value to the collective, so everyone's getting more value from it. So, because I'm going to be doing my practice later on today, I'm going to do some, what am I doing? Healings, writing the newsletter. We write the newsletter every Wednesday night, so hopefully you are part of the newsletter. If not, go to ChristianRLong.com, right to the bottom of the page, put in your name, your email address, and then every single Wednesday night, rain, sleet, or shine, you get 2 hours of my blood, sweat, and prana embedded into the newsletter to improve the quality of your life. Again, none of this information is mine. It all comes from my teacher, Grandmaster Cho Koksui, who you see behind me on the wall, who has added a tremendous amount of value to my life, priceless teachings, priceless energies, priceless blessings that I want to share some of that with you. So, we are suffering because we think we are a chair, is tonight's topic. What does that even mean? Have I gone off the reservation? Am I not thinking clearly? Is there like something going on with my neurology? No. If you were a carpenter and you made a chair, would you as the carpenter be the chair? No. The chair is simply a product of what you created. Fair enough? Okay? So, likewise of the carpenter creating a chair, the carpenter is not the chair. We, on the soul level, we create thoughts, we create feelings, and create actions. Do you know when our suffering begins? When we start identifying as the thought, as the feeling, and as the action. So, something I've had to work on for many, many years of my life is failure. I've done more things wrong than most people, than most people that I know. And I don't say that out of pride. And Stephen, namaste. I say that as I've gotten a tremendous amount of value from the mistakes that were made in my life because I've learned tremendous things from making those mistakes, and I've been able to become a better person and to move my life forward and the lives of all the clients and people that I work with over the years to help move them forward, right? Now, the challenge that I had making these mistakes along the way over the past 20 years was in the beginning stages, I was identifying myself, my value as a soul, to the mistake. So instead of that was a failure, it was I was a failure. Actually, namaste. Instead of that was a mistake, I was the mistake. And as soon as we identify as the soul with this smaller thing, the thought, the feeling, the action, the result, as soon as we identify with that, our aura gets smaller, our chakras get smaller, and the light from the higher soul becomes dim within our lives, within our experience, right? So, the opposite of that is recognizing that we are not our thoughts, we are not our feelings, we are not our actions, we are not the results that we produce in life. All of these things are simply feedback mechanisms of what to do moving forward and what not to do moving forward. So, looking at it from the perspective of a farmer, if you have a plot of land and you're planting a seed, but you don't quite know what that seed is, you're planting the seed and the harvest comes up of, let's say, asparagus, and you don't want asparagus, you are wanting blueberries, you now have awareness of, wait a minute, hold on. So that seed that I had in my hand earlier was asparagus, and I wanted blueberries. Okay, how can I let go of the asparagus seeds and find the blueberry seeds and start planting blueberries? Do blueberries have seeds? Start planting blueberries, right? And they come up in their little bushes or whatever. So one of the greatest books that I've ever read covering this topic about what you are and what you are not is this book written by Grandmaster Chokoku Sui. It is actually, this tiny book was part of a bigger book at the back. And it's called The Existence of God is Self-Evident. See how tiny this book is? Priceless teachings in a tiny book. The existence of God is self-evident. Where I want to read this one passage to you from the book. I am that I am. I am not the body. The body is the vehicle of the soul. I am not the emotion. I am not the thought. The carpenter is not the furniture. The emotions and the thoughts are products of the soul. Nadia, namaste. So in this little tiny passage, even the writing of it is tiny, right? In that tiny passage is the secret to your freedom, is the secret to your liberation, is the secret to you alleviating your suffering, becoming one with your higher self, becoming one with God, one with all. Now, reading it one time, you're not going to have the realizations. Maybe you will, but in most cases you won't. So it's a process of deeper understanding, deeper purification through a meditation practice, through receiving energy healing on a regular basis, through character building, through service, through tithing, and even through, I don't recommend this, but even through suffering itself will help you have a greater realization of what that passage actually means, right? Because if you do something wrong long enough, eventually there's a part of you that's going to awaken and go, wow, I'm not planting the right seeds. Wow, I continue to suffer in my life. Wow, I need to do something different, right? We've all been there in some way, shape, or form. Our physical health isn't where we want our physical health to be, so we have an awareness of, wow, I have horrible health right now. I have to do something to improve the quality of my health. I have to sow better seeds connected to my health. Wow, I have really negative emotions and I have really negative relationships in my life. Okay, got it. I've suffered for 5, 10, 15, 20 years on that. I'm ready to start planting different seeds. How do I do that, right? I have really critical negative thoughts. I have a lot of negative pride. I think I'm a know-it-all, and it's causing me lots and lots of suffering. Okay, wow, what can I do to separate myself from that and start planting better seeds? Felicia, namaste. So practicing the I am the soul helps us disassociate. We talked about this a little bit in the stream last night around fear. It helps us disassociate, recognize what we are, right? Recognize what we are and disconnect from what we are not. So going back to the original analogy of if we think we are love this. That's I've never seen that come up, Nadia. That's pretty cool. If we think we are the furniture, if we think we are the thing that we are creating, then we suffer, right? Because let's say you start a business and that business fails. We can look at it as I'm a failure, right? And then what does that do? Shrinks our aura, shrinks our chakras, shrinks our connection to our higher selves, and we suffer a lot. We suffer mentally, we suffer emotionally, we suffer physically, we suffer financially, because we believe we are that thing. We believe we are our business, right? Versus going, hey, the business is something that my mind, my emotions, and my body created. It failed. I'm not a failure. But what is the feedback? I could have had a better product or service. I could have done better marketing. I could have done better sales. I could have had better prices. You're in the process of getting feedback to improve versus I am that failure. Because if you look at the business as you, and the business fails, you fail. If the business succeeds, you succeed. If you're in a relationship with another person and the relationship fails and you consider yourself the relationship fails, you fail. The relationship succeeds, you succeed, right? Are you starting to catch on? Adriana, namaste. Are you starting to catch on to how the suffering dynamic works? How it's at play? So whenever we identify with the business, with the career, with the bank account, with the relationship, with our physical bodies, when those things are changing, which they always do, right? Relationships go up and down, bank accounts go up and down, business profits go up and down, health goes up and down. That means our sense of self-worth, self-respect, self-esteem, self-image is doing what? Going up and down, up and up, up and down, up and down. We have no continuity of healthy self-image, healthy self-esteem, healthy self-worth if we are always attaching our identity to the thing that we create. The carpenter creates a couch, the carpenter creates a staircase, the carpenter creates a bed, the carpenter creates a chair, and if any of those things are bad and the carpenter believes he is those things, then guess what? Suffering. But if he goes, I created that chair, the person sat on it, and the back right leg cracked, and the person fell on their back, it doesn't mean I'm the chair. It doesn't mean I'm a failure. It doesn't mean I'm broken. It simply means that's the feedback of, next time I make a chair, I need to make the back right leg stronger. I need to use better glue or better adhesives. I need to lock in the joints better. I need to blah, blah, blah. So you're being proactive in coming up with the solution versus identifying yourself with the problem of I'm the broken chair, I'm the broken bed, I'm the broken staircase, I'm the broken couch. Does this make sense? So the realization within this little teeny tiny book, Existence of God is Self-Evident, the realization of I am the soul will alleviate and free you from all suffering, not just physical suffering, not just emotional suffering, but also mental suffering. Recognizing you are the soul. So, is this making sense? Is this clear to you guys? Is this maybe opening up some pockets of insight, pockets of wisdom for you? That if you identify your self-worth with an external thing that is always going to change, then guess what? Your self-worth is always going to change. Meaning, I have money in my bank account. I'm a good, successful person. I don't have any money in my bank account. What does that now mean? Must be a failure. Must be a horrible person, right? Versus, okay, well, what's the feedback? I had money in my account. I don't have money in my account. What's the feedback? What are the factors? What caused these things to take place? Versus, that's me. I'm my bank account. When my bank account is going up, I'm a good person. When my bank account is going down, I'm a bad person. So the self-image, self-esteem, self-worth is always going to be fluctuating every moment of your day, week, month, quarter, year, and life. Not a good way to live. So do you see how when we identify with the things that are not us, we suffer? If you identify with your bank account, you suffer. If you identify with your health, you suffer. If you identify with your emotions, you suffer. If you identify with your thoughts, you suffer. So what are we saying? Identify with what? Identify with the soul. You're like, yeah, but I don't even know what that means. That's fair. That's a lifetime practice of unfoldment. But when you recognize what the soul is and what you are as the soul, everything else becomes secondary. One of the master pranic healers made a very beautiful statement, a little bit surprising, but a beautiful statement at one of the retreats this year, that your primary goal in this lifetime is soul realization. Everything else is secondary. Your primary goal in this lifetime is soul realization. Everything else is secondary. Now, does that mean that advice is for the general public? No. Does that mean what I'm saying to you guys right now on the stream is for each and every person listening to the stream, live or the replay? No, right? Some people are going to hear that. It's going to connect with them. It's going to click with them. And they go, wow, I really am here to be self and soul realized. Okay, what do I need to do to become self and soul realized? Connect to the self. How do I connect to the self? Well, first of all, not identifying with your body, your emotions, and your thoughts. And then through your meditation practice, consistently and persistently feeding, nurturing, planting good seeds, and connecting with your soul energy. And the soul is light, love, and power. Light, love, and power. Those are the essential qualities and nature of the soul. So everything that is not that is contrary to the soul. So loving kindness and non-injury is a quality of the soul. But cruelty, neglect, injury, meanness, anger, and hatred are not qualities of the soul. It's actually lack of soul energy, lack of soul contact that enables those things to take place. Is this making sense? Is this clicking? Is this good for you guys? I want to go back for just a second to see what Stephen said. As chairman of several partnerships, I admit accepting a certain amount of suffering, got to take responsibility. Now, that's a very interesting point that Stephen is making. So, what happens is you don't take personal, how do I want to say this? And then I'm getting this actually from Great Explanations. Good, Felicia. The Bhagavad Gita, which was written over 5,000 years ago, about the story of Lord Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield of, do I follow my duty and kill people as an archer, or do I lay down my bow and arrow, not cause injury, and not fulfill my dharma? That's pretty much the entire conversation between these two great beings. And the thing is that what we want to acknowledge and recognize is not identifying and having personal, because Stephen brings up a very, very good point, and it's a very nuanced point that I'm trying to articulate clearly for the group. Yes, you want to take responsibility for a situation, meaning you want to take responsibility for how you think, for the words that come out of your mouth, for the feelings that you feel, and the actions that you take. You want to take responsibility of like, okay, I could swear right now, or I could say something loving and kind. I could be cruel and mean to this person, or I can be helpful and encouraging, right? That's taking responsibility for your thoughts, your words, your feelings, and your actions. But that being said, if you say a hurtful thing, you are not that hurtful thing. It is simply a product of lack of awareness, lack of understanding, lack of compassion, and an injurious quality within you. But that doesn't mean you are that hurtful word. It doesn't mean you are those angry feelings. It doesn't mean you are those hurtful actions. It's simply lack of connection to the soul. So you have awareness and you go, wow, I'm sorry for doing that. I'm sorry for the hurtful thing that I said to you. But you're not taking it on personally. You're not saying, I am that thing. Do you get it? So another way of looking at it is, it's okay to have a little bit of grief. It's okay to have a little bit of shame. It's okay to have a little bit of guilt. Why? Because it awakens you to how your thoughts, your words, and your actions affect other people and yourself positively or negatively. But to hold on to guilt, hold on to shame, to hold on to grief for a prolonged period of time leads to suffering. I'll give you an example. And this is also a fine line. But there was a woman that I recently came in contact with who last Thanksgiving, her husband died in her arms. Out of nowhere, right? Out of nowhere. Like he had a brain aneurysm. They took him to the hospital. 6 hours later, he was dead. Like that. Pretty amazing. And I think he was in his early 50s. This woman is still suffering from that experience, which is understandable, right? But here's the problem. She is continuing to suffer because she is identifying with the grief, with the guilt, with the shame. If only I did this, this, and this, he'd still be alive. If only I had another 6 hours to tell him how much I loved him and cared about him and valued him and how important he was, my suffering would be alleviated. As soon as she recognizes that her husband is not the body, he's the soul, as soon as she recognizes she's not the guilt, she's not the shame, she's not the grief, she is the soul, what's going to happen? Her suffering will be alleviated. Now that's very, very difficult to say to people when they're in a period of grief and sadness and shame, right? Because what do you want to do? You want to not revel in that, but you want to experience that, and you feel that you are entitled to experience that of like, wow, I just had a loved one die, I had a pet die, I had a friend die. I need some time to grieve. I need some time to heal from this negative experience, which is completely understandable. But our goal is to shorten that period of grief, of shame, of guilt as quickly as possible. We can even connect that to resenting somebody. Yes, somebody did something to you that hurt you. Unjustifiable. They took a baseball bat to your car windshield. Some kid in the middle of the night. They don't know you, you don't know them. They were just doing it on a dare. And you come out the next day, you walk downstairs, and you're like, my windshield's bashed in. So you can be angry for a minute, a day, a week, a month, a year, or never get over it. You can always remember that experience happening. But here's the thing. The person that caused you that pain, whether they were conscious of it or unconscious, namaste, whether they were conscious or unconscious of the pain that they caused you, is irrelevant, because who is the person that's still suffering? You. You are still suffering. The person who bashed in your windshield forgot about it a day later, but you've held on to it for 5 years. So who's the one that's continuing to suffer? You. Why? Because you're identifying with the resentment versus connecting with the soul. I'm not this pain. I'm not this resentment. I'm not this anger. I'm not this irritability. I'm not these things. And what does that allow you to do? It allows you to move forward. Does that make sense? Because right now we're approaching the end of 2019. We're in the last final stretch of the year. And we can look back on this year and extrapolate all the beautiful lessons, beautiful experiences, and beautiful people that we've interacted with, and let go of the past pain, the past hurts, the past mistakes, the past failures. We can let go of those things, or we can choose to grab all of them, all the pain, hurts, anguish, whatever, and pull them into 2020, the upcoming year. And then guess what? We're going to live a similar year as we did in 2019 or 2015 or 2010 or 2005 or 2000, right? So again, the main takeaway from tonight's talk, again, from the book The Existence of God is Self-Evident, The Existence of God is Self-Evident by Grandmaster Chola Koksui, is recognizing that we are not our thoughts, we are not our feelings, we are not our physical bodies. As soon as we identify with our thoughts, our feelings, our physical body, we suffer. It's as simple as that. It's saying, I'm angry, meaning I am that, versus my emotions are feeling angry. Do you see the difference of energy, the difference of quality? My emotions are feeling angry. My mind is feeling chaotic and fuzzy. But as soon as you start saying, I'm chaotic and fuzzy, you identify with that very thing and you become imprisoned by it. I hope this is making sense. Again, this is something you practice for your lifetime. It's not like, hey, I'm the soul, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my emotions, I'm not my body. No problem, I got it. Easy peasy. Well, go and take an ice cold shower and not feel it. Have somebody cheat on you in a relationship and not identify with the jealousy and the rage. Have somebody have a miscalculation in your finances and lose thousands of dollars, right? Because of lack of mental capacity to do the right thing. We're not seeing something clearly, right? One of the teachers and one of the masters in pranic healing said recently that you will know to what level you've mastered the teaching when you remember it in a time of need, right? So something bad happens to you and you can choose to, wait a minute, I'm not going to freak out right now. This is not of the soul. This is not who and what I am. I'm the soul. Okay, I have clarity. Now I know what to do. Versus something bad happens to you and you completely lose it. That's how you know you've mastered the teaching. Because if you can remember to practice I am the soul when everything in your life is going amazing, your mind is sharp and clear, your emotions are calm and loving, your physical body is healthy and strong. If you can remember to practice I am the soul occasionally during those times, that's one step, true. But the real test is mastering the I am the soul when you're not clear, mastering the I am the soul when you don't feel good, mastering the I am the soul when the physical body is sick. That's the real challenge. That's the test. That's how you know you've mastered a certain practice. Does that make sense? Nadia gets it. I love it. So, I hope that added value to you guys this evening. For those of you who are looking for healing, to remove negative thoughts, remove negative emotions, patterns, programs, to remove physical pains in the body, and to help identify more with the soul, then I'd recommend hiring me. I recommend us working together. You can do that at ChristianRLong.com. It's my name. That's my website. That's the best way of getting a hold of me. It has all of my pertinent information, Google reviews, testimonials, my background, the whole deal on how I can assist you in moving your life forward. But again, this principle of the I am the soul is one of the most important principles that you can practice and master over your lifetime. It will alleviate you of so much pain, so much sorrow, and so much suffering if you can only identify and realize that I'm the soul, I'm not my past mistakes, I'm not my past failures, I'm not my past pains, hurts, and suffering that I've caused to myself and to other people. They are simply products of what I've created. But guess what? Because I'm a being of light, a being of love, and a being of power, I can now create better thoughts. I can now create better feelings. I can now create better things within my physical body. I can use my physical body to do better things. That's empowering. It's really, really quite beautiful. So, I hope that helps. I hope that inspires you guys to maybe pick up The Existence of God as Self-Evident book, read it, understand it, practice it, master it, and also the possibility of us working together. And that is it. So I thank you very much for your time, for your love, for your energy. Feel free to throw in any and all comments below. If you are not following us on YouTube, please go to YouTube, type in ChristianRLong, and subscribe to the channel. We put up videos there. We have hundreds of videos there now, all for the purpose of adding value to your life and opening you up to greater possibilities of greater love, greater sweetness, tenderness, joy, and transformation. This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant. Thanks, Adriana. Wishing you a beautiful day, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life. Atma, namaste. Bye-bye.